Welcome to GovCon Unfiltered, where your journey through the labyrinth of federal contracting begins. I'm Alexa Choi, your guide and host on this epic adventure. Here, we dive deep into the heart of government contracting, shedding light on the heroic tales of those who navigate its complex terrain. Our mission? To bring you closer to the action, revealing the critical steps, triumphant victories, and occasional pitfalls that our intrepid adventurers face. Your journey into the world of government contracting starts now, and we could not be happier to have you with us. Let's embark on this adventure together. Thank you for joining us on GovCon Unfiltered. Today, our guest is Scott. I'm so excited to have him here. He's somebody I've admired in the industry for a long time. And today we're going to be talking about the VETS25 Conference that's up and coming in May. So Scott, welcome. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Alexa. This is a real pleasure. Wonderful to be with you this morning. I'm Scott Semple. I'm the conference director, and it's been my pleasure to lead the annual VETS conference through the past 4 years. During this time, we've increased the attendance at the conference by about tenfold. And that growth is really the result of redesigning the entire conference to what small business GovCon entrepreneurs really need, especially in light of all the dramatic changes that are taking place right now. And what is it they need? They need to understand pipeline. What is the government going to buy? How are they going to buy it?
Right.
That's great. You can kind of read that in a lot of, in a lot of places. But most importantly, it's understanding the procurement processes, right? How are things going to move around? There's a lot of rumors about that. We should probably talk about, and what agencies are going to be buying, what agencies are going to be controlling what. And then most importantly, at the VETS25 conference, you're going to learn a lot about how to adapt your strategic plans, the strategic plan for your small business, and implement tactical actions that you can walk out of the conference with that will make you survive and do well in 25 and thrive during the rest of this administration.
I love it. And so let's actually get into the rumor thing a little bit, because I mean, every single day you hear different things, and some of them are quite wild. What are some of the rumors that you're hearing that you think are going to be true, and what are some that you're hearing that are complete like kabuki?
Utter kabuki, huh?
Yeah,
And that's about the nicest words that you can use for it.
I was trying. Yes.
Let me start right off saying, Alexa, that our conversation today is without a doubt the most important conversation that I've had on any podcast. And I've been fortunate enough to do a bunch of these. So that sounds like a lot of pandering, right? I'm pandering to Alexa. I'm truly not. And you know why? Because the information that I can pass along this morning, Monday, this afternoon, is not been published anywhere. This is brand new information because this is changing so quickly. So number one, in answer to your question, what am I hearing? What's kabuki? What's true? Right? What we are hearing a lot about is that there's a total travel ban. Not true. That there's a gag order. Not true. That you can't hear from any government officials. Not true. I'll go through a list, pretty extensive list, of government leaders in federal procurement who will be live and speaking in person at our conference, VETS25, in Orlando, Florida, May 13 through 16. So in terms of the kabuki style, let's see, what else are we hearing? All government contracts are going to go away and it's all going to go to GSA. Probably not true. Not true. Okay. Are there efficiencies that are going to happen? Sure. And we'll talk about that in a second. There are certain areas of federal procurement that do tend to lend themselves a little bit better to consolidation, perhaps under GSA. And these other areas that clearly are very customized. And those are more likely to stay in a different form. But I am not the source for that. The source is going to be in Orlando, May 13 to 16 at the VETS conference. And that's these federal officials that are not originating these policy changes. That's coming out of the White House. It's coming out of OMB. It's coming out of OFPP, the Office of Federal Policy and Procurement, and it's coming out of DOGE. Oh my God, DOGE, hey, they are originating changes. The people that are actually implementing them, changing the contract forms, changing the delivery form, right? Those are the people who will be speaking at our conference.
Wonderful. Well, I'm super, super excited to hear more about what is coming for the VETS25 conference. Talk to me a little bit about what's happening with other small business conferences, because the government not coming out and speaking or agreeing to be in any of these panels for the big events is true from like an outsider's perspective because they're not going. So what do you think is going to be the fallout of this coming into next year even?
Yeah, and that's a great question, Alexa. Anytime there's rapid change of any type, remember when COVID hit?
Oh
Oh
yeah.
my God. Remember that? We used to scrub our mail, right?
Yeah.
You used to leave the groceries in the garage for a couple of days. I mean, it was pretty funny stuff now that we look
Right.
back on it, right? But we really thought that COVID-19 was, getting contact with it, it was going to kill you, right?
Right.
Why is that? Well, if you read any of the, stuff that is online, voids are filled with conspiracy theories and false information. This has been
Right.
a lot of change. Been a lot of change to federal procurement.
And
Very
pretty
rapid.
fast too. That's the thing. It was pretty
Oh,
fast.
yeah, I've been doing this for a little longer than you probably, and I have never seen anything like this, Alexa. The pace of change is dramatic. All right. And by the way, we are not talking about politics. Good, bad, left, right, up, down. I
Right.
don't care. Blue, red doesn't make any difference. Right. Entrepreneurs are phenomenal people. You know why?
Right.
Because nobody sends them a letter and says, "Hey, Alexa, you should do something called G2X, and here's how to do it." Okay?
Right.
Doesn't happen that way. All right.
Right.
Entrepreneurs read the market, find an opportunity, they model the behavior of their company and their products and their go to market strategy. They model it around what they perceive and they truly understand as being a viable, sustainable market. In the
Right.
absence of good information, what happens is all that wonderful information gets replaced with junk. What'd you call it? A
Right.
lot of
Kabuki.
kabuki. Okay.
Right. So one of the things I was thinking, Scott, is that some of these conferences might actually get condensed. So there's less of them, but maybe the ones that are left are higher impact, which is something that I think would be actually kind of a good fallout from this type of rearrangement of the tiles of the GovCon space.
Well, it is kind of a natural. Who was it? Darwin. Survival of the fittest.
Right.
I think it's kind of a Darwinian. In terms of conference consolidation. Wow, Alexa the Darwinian. So I think you're really onto something. Our conference has gone from about 300 to 2,000 in 4 short years. That's pretty unheard of.
Gosh, that
Yeah,
is
in terms of
incredible
attendee.
growth.
Why? Well, we did two things. One, we added a real live curriculum. In other words, we
Right.
teach a series of information for GovCon small business and large business people, okay, at every phase of growth. So if you're getting started and you're 2 to 5 million, right, we have really valuable information for you on what's a PDM, procurement decision maker, what's an 1102, contracting officer,
Right.
right? What's a GWAP? What's it? We have information for you. If you're exiting as a small business out of your size limit, we have information for you, really good training taught by experts,
Right.
and I'll go through the list, right? True experts in the field. And that is really what's made us a big, has gathered quite a following. The other part is right back to what I was saying up front. We don't depend on people from the last administration to tell you what's
Right.
going on in this administration. Never has that been more important than in this transition. So the folks that are in this administration, within the agencies, within procurement, those are
Right.
the people you need to hear from. And guess what? For the last 90 days, they have not spoken. And
Right.
so as a matter of timing, right, there was a conference held in January, many conferences held in January, so, or planned to be held in January, in
Right.
February. And you're right, many were canceled, right?
Right.
There are a lot of conferences of every type where the government contribution has been absolutely zero.
Right.
By good fortune, a couple of things have happened. Our conference being in May provided just enough time, I guess, a buffer for the administration to get in and determine exactly what they wanted to say to industry and when. So we're in a fairly good time box for that. The second part is NVSBC, the National Veteran Small Business Coalition, that is the supporting organization for the VETS conference. We're very known and very trusted to our government partners.
Right.
Specifically, we are the folks that through our lobbying effort with our lobbying partner, Van Scoyoc Associates, we're the folks that were successfully able to lobby for the 3% federal set aside for SDVOFB
Nice.
to be increased to 5%. We
That
accomplished
is
it through the
huge.
yeah, through the NDAA in 23.
Right.
We're also the organization that lobbied for and successfully eliminated self-certification. What is self-certification? Oh, sure, I'm an SDVOSB. I'll just check a box on the SAM registration and I'm good to go, right?
Right.
Astounding, which nobody really understood, is out of 24 agencies that are
Right.
required to do small business contracting, according to the CFO Act, right? There was one that actually checked to see if you were a certified SDVOSB, and that was the
The
VA.
VA. Yeah.
Correct. Right.
Right.
So, it's been a very confusing landscape, right? Back to the point.
Right. Right.
NVSBC is a trusted agent.
Right.
NVSBC is the organization that organizes the VETS conference, and our CEO, Scott Jensen, of course, another Scott, has been phenomenally successful in achieving outsized results. And that is what's made us a trusted agent. So the combination of those two things, Alexa, timing is
Right.
in our favor.
Right.
Thank you. And the fact that we were able to very quickly reach out through Congress, through the White House, through the agencies, and invite the folks the leaders in the federal agencies who can really convey all of the information that they know. And that's one of the things
Right.
that I want to emphasize. This change is going to continue. You're not going to hear exactly what's going to happen in Fed fiscal year 26. That's
Right.
1 October. There's a
Right.
lot of land to cover between now and
Oh
then.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what you're going to hear at our conference is absolutely the latest information
Right.
that, and here's the most important word, that is actionable. Things that you can really
Right.
take action on.
Right. So, Scott, I feel like we've done a lot of build up, right? Almost 12 minutes of build up into like, talk about 25. That's 25. Who's coming? What's happening? Like, tell us all of the things now.
This will be held in Orlando at the Rosen Center, which is a beautiful facility. We have the entire venue. It's a 1,300 room hotel, as well as a very large convention center, and we have the whole thing. That's May 13, Tuesday through Friday, the 16th of May. Who's going to be there? Well, that's probably the most important part. So let's now, name names and provide you some sneak previews. Agencies. Everybody wants to know who's going to be here from the federal agencies. First, the Small Business Administration. We are thrilled to announce Kelly Loeffler will provide an in-person keynote presentation at the conference. That's huge. But in addition, she's not coming down solo. She's going to be with a team that led by Elias Hernandez, head of OVBD, Office of Veteran Business Development, Larry Stubblefield, who's the Deputy Associate Administrator of the Office of Government Contracting and Business Development, and Stan Kurtz, who's the Director of Engagement for OVBD. As well, very important, they'll have a booth on our exhibit floor. Did I mention that we have an over 50,000 square foot exhibit hall with 174 vendors? It's the biggest
Wow.
exhibit hall in our space. Okay,
Right.
why is learning anything from SBA important for the small business community? Because they're not anything, they are everything. They've redefined the policies. And as you read a couple of weeks ago, when they've reissued their mission statement under this administration, right? There's one set aside category that was primarily mentioned, and that is the veteran small business category.
Right.
Sort of VETS is in the name, right? The VETS conference is all about understanding how vets will work in this small business environment. Okay, that's SBA. Let's keep going. The big tomato. Everybody wants to know, well, nobody's coming from the VA. Guess what, Alexa? We have people coming, a lot of people coming from the Veterans Administration, right? Let's start at the top. Chief Acquisition Officer, Phil Christie. Phil will be in
Nice.
person. Phil has direct reports, including Chris Parker. Mr. Parker will be there, who represents the SAC, Strategic Acquisition Center, and the NAC, the National Acquisition Center. They combined the SAC and the NAC to form the SNAC. No, just kidding. But anyway,
That was a joke. I didn't miss it.
they have several contracts that are of huge interest, and those are contracts that you're going to hear about that you're asking about.
Yep.
IHT2. Alan Smith
Right.
will be with us, right? And he can
I really
talk.
like Alan. Alan's a fun guy.
He is.
Can't
And
wait to meet him in person.
he really understands a lot. Then we have the TAC, Technology Acquisition Center,
Yep.
headed by Jeffrey Neal. Jeff will be there in person as well and is bringing 4 to 6, I think, of his leadership team. The TAC, of course, is the organization that has T4NG2.
Right.
So immediately that brings a question like, what's going to happen with T4NG2? Is it going to get jammed under GSA? Alexa, you and I can't answer that, but I'll
We
tell you
don't
what,
know.
Jeff can.
Jeff can answer that question.
You want to be there. We're going to have somewhere between 14 and 20 people from the VA at our conference. They also will have an exhibit booth on our exhibit hall floor.
Nice.
Let's
This is
keep
perfect.
going. Let's keep
Oh,
going.
wait, there's more.
There's more. General Services Administration. Very important to hear from GSA because
Yeah.
they could be, on the receiving end of the football for a lot of these contracts. We don't know how that's going to go. But
Right.
people who we've invited, now they haven't quite confirmed yet. I'm hoping to hear in the next 24 to 48 hours, the folks that are coming from GSA. But we have invited Josh Gruenbaum, who is the FAS Director, Federal Acquisition Service. We've invited Laura Stanton. Laura speaks at a lot of our events.
Yep.
Fan, great supporter of our organization. And wow, can Laura Stanton throw the numbers at you? I mean,
Oh, yeah.
she's
famous for it.
She is amazing, right? As well, Nick Kalathis, who's division director and retired rear admiral, a Navy boat driver. He is responsible for the VETS25, very important vehicle with more contracting moving to veterans. He's also
People don't know, Scott, really quick, people don't know that last year there was $1 billion of funding handed to VETS2. Nobody talked about it except G2X.
correct.
So here's the thing. I wrote a whole article. Like, what's the impact? Who are the winners? Who should you be teaming up with now? Why you have to have a service disabled veteran on strategy in your back pocket for every deal that you bid. And people just don't realize it. So that attendee he's going to be a popular guy.
Yep. And that's so important. I'm so appreciative of what you do, Alexa. And again, no pandering here. This is truth. Okay. You get into the details. You dig down. Most people don't even understand what a VETS2 is, right? To go into it and understand, and I mean this, to understand that's a vehicle that's been sitting there unused in many parts. Okay.
Right.
Now,
Yeah.
here's the interesting part. What if you're an 8A? What if you're a hub zone? What if you're a woman zone? Okay.
Right.
Those are categories that can benefit by partnering with VET. And there are 36 primes that are on that vehicle, right?
Right.
And just totally important that you partner with the firms who are on that vehicle because there is unspent ceiling. That's a beautiful thing. So again, in addition to those speakers that I mentioned from the federal government, there will be DoD representatives as well as representatives from a number of different agencies. Plus, let's keep going. There's industry leaders who really understand this marketplace. For instance, Rob Burton, former director of OFPP.
Right.
Rob will be there. Okay. That's an important thing. I'll bet you've heard of a guy by the name of Kevin Plexico. Runs a little group called GovWin, Deltec GovWin.
Little company, never heard of it. Just kidding.
He will be there.
I love Plexico.
Josh Frank, who's director of RSM Federal, or founder of RSM Federal.
Another legend.
That's right. Jeff Shen, head of Red Team. Okay.
Yep.
Brad Reeves, head of Reeves GovCon, one of the most informed business advisors and lawyers that we know. So we have over 100 speakers.
Wow.
And across this 4-day program, 5 different types of sessions. We have pre-conference sessions on Tuesday, on Wednesday and Thursday. We have general sessions, breakout sessions, and showcase theater sessions. And on Friday, capping everything off, we have master classes. And that's where we have longer 2.5-hour sessions about very specific. Now, take everything from that conference. Here's how you apply it. Understandings of, really going to market and building your business. So that's
wonderful.
A lot of conference, huh?
That's a lot. It's going to be really exciting. And I was curious, what about next year? What are you changing? What are you keeping? What are you aiming for? What are you dreaming about?
Well, let's let the cat out of the bag.
We've
been in Orlando for, I think, 5 years now. And so I get a lot of commentary that, oh, you guys are stuck in Orlando. No, we're not. So two really cool things. One this is the first time we've announced this. VETS for 26 is going to be, drum roll please, in New Orleans. We're going to be at the Grand Hyatt, right next to the Superdome, right?
Yep.
Why there? Very honestly, we needed to change a venue. That's a
Yeah.
great thing. But the Grand Hyatt, and many of us have been there for the other industry conferences, it's a bigger facility. We can grow this conference a little bit more. And, based on the demand, based on the changes in our marketplace, we think that's going to be very helpful. Also, for the first time, Alexa, something that's really kind of cool, and this is thanks to my absolutely astounding, amazing, unbelievable team, Alicia Mitten, who runs our technology for this year's registration. And I think the registration link is available to you here on the website. She has been able to put together the VETS26 sponsor registration. So you can actually, at VETS25, you can purchase and secure your sponsorship for VETS26, which is going to be a very, very good thing. Along with Alicia Mitten on our team, Sarah Staley is the director of logistics and takes care of an amazing variety of complex logistics issues, including security for all of our guests. And Rebecca Kane is the person you talk to on the help desk. She also runs our exhibit floor. And I am just graced to have these three women leading this conference with me.
Wonderful. Well, G2X will be there in person, our entire leadership team, and Brittany Winkler, who's our lead analyst, and potentially be speaking there as well. So you know that I'll be seeing you at VETS25.
And Alexa, you will be speaking. So how about that for our real-time announcement right here?
Yes, I will be speaking. I'm very excited about it. And Scott, I think we're going to have a great time. I look forward to supporting you, this organization, and VETS25 and 26 and beyond.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk with you, Alexa, and to bring to the G2X audience all the information about a really critical experience down in Orlando, May 13 to 16. Please register for VETS25 today.
Get your ticket, everybody. We'll see you there. Thank you so much, Scott.
Thanks.